And you probably didn't think, maybe you did, but maybe you didn't think you'd ever be in some place like this. But because you're here, it means you've taken some good steps forward, positive steps to try to make your life better. And getting better you are. Right? Does anybody do the Yoda voice? Can anybody do the Yoda voice? Where's Craig? I have to have a Star. There you go. Yeah, I have to have a Star Wars, something in there with Star Wars going on and everything. So you are getting better. I came across this thing that was written by Richard St. John, 8 traits successful people have in common. And I was looking at all these stick figures, and they're all working, and they're focusing, and they're pushing, and they're really putting a lot of effort into what they're doing here. And, it made me think about, previous generations. When you think about your grandparents and your great-grandparents and the way that they were and the way that you know that they are today, they worked really hard, didn't they? They didn't have anything handed to them on a silver platter, that's for sure. They didn't have credit cards that they put everything on. They worked hard for everything they had, got up when it was dark in the morning, and they were tough. They were tough people. Okay, quiz time. All right, I'll be impressed if anybody knows the answer to this. But according to the Guinness Book of World Records, what is the world's fastest production car? And it is production, not car, but production car of all time. Does anybody have a guess?
Model 2.
Nope. Not even close. Fastest production car.
Is it a Lamborghini?
Nope.
Bugatti.
You got it. You guessed it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You got it. The Bugatti, it's made by the Volkswagen people. And for those of you that are metrically challenged, the top speed is 268 miles per hour. And it goes 0 to 100 kilometers, which is 0 to 62 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. Now this is kind of more our speed, isn't it? This is kind of what we lean towards. Rather than the tough and really working, we want this instant gratification, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We want it, and we want it now, and somebody put it in our mouth for us. And it's preferable. You don't have to work so hard. You just get what you want, and you can get it now. The bottom line, though, is anything worth having is worth fighting for. And it's going to take work. And obstacles are put in your way just to see if it's really worth fighting for. If you can't get over those obstacles, then it may not have been worth fighting for you. So the only difference between stumbling blocks and stepping stones is the way you use them. If you stumble over a rock, you can either lay down and give up and say, I can't do it, or you can get up on that and use it as a stepping stone to get to the next place. So, through the years and every day, I talk to y'all and I hear a lot of different ideas, a lot of questions, a lot of concerns that y'all have and things I've noticed. And so I kind of put this presentation together to talk, not at length, but briefly about some of those issues, okay? If any of you wants to talk more at length about any of these issues, or you want more information, be happy to get it for you. But we're going to be kind of quick and distinct because there's a lot to talk about. But we want to touch on a few things getting ready for 2016. So, as human beings on this earth, we are physical, emotional, and spiritual beings. Now, when you come to Project Rescue, one of the main things you are taught, and the main things that is discussed with you is your spiritual renewal. That's what it's all about. That's the most important part of you getting better. But it doesn't come without your physical health and your emotional well-being as well. Those two aspects of you are extremely important. And that's what I'm going to focus on today. not the spiritual, which is the most important, but I'm going to talk about physical and mental well-being. First of all, with physical health, you got a triangle. Nutrition, exercise, rest. Those are the three things that kind of, in general, make up everything about your health. Now, you guys saw these when you were in elementary school, right? Everybody's seen them. You probably remember, and they're about the same now as they were. You know, they change every once in a while. In the bottom, food groups, you're talking about whole grains, right? And then 2 servings of fruits and vegetables. And Caleb's wife, Abigail, could tell you a whole lot more about this because she's the expert in nutrition. Maybe she can come to a class someday. I'm just going to briefly touch on this. So 2 to 3 of meats, and then at the top, fat, oil, sugar, and salt, a little bit of that. But your main thing is these are your main food groups. However, I don't know that we always eat that way, do we? This is more like what our food triangle looks like and our food groups. This was made by the Association of American Corporations for the Freedom of Choice in Food. They think you should choose whatever you want. You could be able to choose whatever you want. And the truth is you probably can't. Of course, if you chose to eat surf and turf every day, you may not be able to do that. But you choose what you eat every day. And that makes a big difference in our lives. So we're going to talk just a little bit about nutrition. Good versus bad fats. Let's just talk about fat. Everything on top, that's the good stuff. Fish, nuts, olive oil, peanut butter. That's where your fats need to come from. Not the stuff on the bottom. But where do we tend to get our fats from? You know, if you look at the stuff on the left and then compare it to the stuff on the right, I'll be honest, the stuff on the right looks way better to me. Every once in a while, that's okay to make a choice like that. But this should not be our regular food that we eat every day. Our bodies need the things on the left. Our bodies have to try to process and deal with the things on the right. We're working against ourselves on the right, and we're helping ourselves on the left. So here's the bottom line with fast food. It kills you, okay? When you eat a hamburger and fries with all the salt and fat on a regular basis, or even just one meal, your blood kind of turns to sludge. It's full of fat and nastiness, saturated completely with it. And your body has to work extra hard to process all that sludge and fat. It makes you feel bad and it makes you sick. But I have to eat out sometimes, and it's just hard. It's what a lot of people say. Well, you can make smarter choices when you eat out. You don't have to eat the hamburger and fries and a Coke. You can go to Subway. And you don't have to have the pork burrito. You can have a veggie bowl. There's healthy options almost everywhere you go. Not always as pleasing, but they make you feel better. And they're better for you. Fat is just a different composition than muscle. See the difference? They're both 5 pounds. 5 pounds of fat compared to 5 pounds of muscle. Big difference. So that's what I think most of us want is less fat and more muscle. This is a way a lot of doctors tell you if you want to lose weight to do it. The bottom of your triangle there, you got cruciferous type vegetables and you got meats, and that's where all your protein is. That's where you work really hard to get lots of protein. And then the carbohydrates are very small amounts on the top. And it's good carbs, not cake and ice cream carbs, but like pasta type carbs, and very little of that. The reason that diet works very simply is your body processes carbohydrates for fuel every day. That's where we get our fuel from. If you don't have carbohydrates in your body processes your fat for energy. So your fat gets turned to your fuel, and you lose weight. You can lose a ton of weight if you can really stay on this diet. Now, transitioning over to a carbohydrate diet after you've lost a lot of weight is another issue. But if anybody's interested in this, you can talk to me about it. But the bottom line is, there are ways that you can lose weight and still eat a lot of food. Let's talk a little bit about soda. I'm not going to read all of this, but I can tell you that drinking a Coke breaks down the enamel in your teeth. It can cause all kinds of issues, osteoporosis, kidney problems, sugar overload. Bottom line with this is doctors say the reason obesity is such a huge ordeal these days because we have a high level of obesity that we've never had in the past is because it's really hard to eat so many calories that you gain that much weight. It's not hard to drink that many calories. You can drink a lot of calories in a short period of time. And that's one of the main reasons we have issues in our country today. So what's the answer? You know, it's water. We need water. Our bodies are made up of it. 60% of an adult man's body is water. 75% of your brain is water. The problem is, a lot of times we're sitting here in class or wherever we are, and we're dehydrated, and we don't even know it. Fatigued, a little dry. You know, the bottom line with this is 64 ounces of fluid a day. That's about 8 cups of water, a couple liters of water you need every day. Now, when you drink sugary drinks and you drink caffeine, that makes you more dehydrated. Yes, it gives you some water, but it makes you more dehydrated. So your body needs and craves water. And if you're exercising or working really hard, you should be drinking water before, during, and after. So this is our fun urine color chart. So the first 3 is, you are hydrated, good for you. This is what your urine should look like. Okay? 4 through 7, not so much. That means I am not hydrated and I need to work at it. Let me go run and get a glass of water and chug it down right now. Because you need to keep your body in tune, and hydration is very important. So memorize these colors, okay? And think about it every time. Trust me, ever since I've seen this thing, I have to. It's hard to get out of your mind. But you want to stay hydrated. And since we're talking about personal things, we might as well talk about this. This is an issue that people have and come to me about. What can you do to prevent constipation? Drinking tons of water. A lot of the answers to these questions will overlap. Water, water, water. Healthy, healthy, healthy foods. Staying active and exercising. Don't ignore the urge to go to the bathroom. Eat plenty of high fiber foods. And, you know, drugs will constipate you. So don't do drugs. Now, you may be asking me, what are high fiber foods? I'm so glad you asked that question, because all the good whole grains, fruits, vegetables, oatmeal, granola, lentils, bran muffins, bran cereals, not the sugar cereals, but the bran type cereals, very high in fiber. Very good for you and help you stay regular. Now, Jay and I were talking about this the other day, and I've had this discussion with several people. We're going to go through this really quick. But I can't afford healthy foods. They're too expensive for me. There are ways to save money on real food, the good stuff. But it takes a little effort. You got to get organized. You got to make a plan when you go to Walmart, what you're going to get. You got to use everything you have and don't waste it. If you can't eat it right away, freeze it. So you'll have it for later. Keep it simple. You can just have a piece of chicken and a potato and a little salad. Drink water. If you don't buy Coke, you don't have to spend money on Coke. And then the water's free, and you can save a lot of money. Take advantage of low prices and discounts. If it's on sale, try to buy a little bit in bulk and freeze it, because it's a good price right now. And it may not be later. Canned is not the way you want to go if you can help it. Most healthy is fresh, then frozen, then canned. If you have to buy canned, rinse it off and get all that gunk off there. There's too many preservatives. Stay away from preservatives. Freezing is a better way to preserve your food if you can't get fresh. If you get frozen, don't get the stuff coated with sugar or the vegetables with a lot of sauce on there. And cook extra when you can and eat it for 2 or 3 days, or freeze it for later. And then cut way back on eating out. Okay? You can save thousands of dollars by not eating out, and drink water if you do eat out. You can save a lot of money. How much is a drink at the restaurant? $3? can be a lot of money. So we're going to just talk briefly about exercise. It can help you control your weight, combat health problems, improves your mood. That's a big reason to exercise, right? Boost your energy, helps you sleep better, relieves stress. These are all great things that we can all use in our lives. But can you exercise a bad diet? The answer is no. No matter how much you exercise, your body needs healthy food. And if you're not eating healthy food, but exercising like crazy, you're still not healthy. It should be stated that it's okay to indulge a little on special occasions like New Year's Eve. We all do that from time to time, don't we? Mom Jeannie and I have been known to make some junk food for you guys. Every once in a while, that's okay. But where's the problem lie? Anyone?
Overdoing it.
Overdoing it. That's the issue. Quiz time. Now we're talking about OTC meds, over the counter. And I'm going to ask you guys if you see what your level of knowledge is on these, okay? Over-the-counter medicines. Because you can buy it over the counter, you may think, oh, well, you know, it's no big deal. I can buy it over the counter. I can just use what I need. And they can be deadly. Okay, here's question number 1. A black box label is on every bottle of this medicine stating it can cause heart attacks and strokes. You got it. Who said that? Jim. Good job, Jim. Advil or ibuprofen. That's Motrin, ibuprofen, or Advil. Any of those brands have an FDA black box warning. That's the highest warning that they have for over-the-counter medications. They will, in regular use, cause cardiovascular disease and can cause heart attack and stroke. Next question. Half of all liver failures in the U.S.
Tylenol.
I knew you guys would know that one. Tylenol. If you are a drinker or a former drinker, you should never take Tylenol. Half of all liver failures in the U.S. are from Tylenol. The other half, I think, are from alcohol. Just lost a patient recently, 37 years old. She died from liver failure because she drank too much alcohol. 9-year-old child. And it was not a pretty death, not a way you want to go. This medicine can easily lead to stomach and intestinal bleeding when overused or taken too regularly. Aspirin. Goody powders, yeah? Anybody ever taken a goody powder? Do you know how many times I have had GI bleeds in the ICU from goody powders? Goody powders can be dangerous because people think, well, it's just this little powder, I can just take a whole bunch of it. And before you know it, they're on the ventilator and they're just about dead. This stuff can be very dangerous, except that's not the only thing. Ibuprofen is equally dangerous. Aspirin and ibuprofen and Aleve and all of that, when taken too regularly, can cause a GI bleed. I had a 17-year-old boy just a couple or 3 months ago in the ICU, almost died from taking too much ibuprofen. He was on the ventilator for a week and then had to be transferred to Huntsville. It took a week to get him stable enough to get him to Huntsville. Dangerous stuff. You got to take this stuff seriously. True or false? If 2 is good, 6 is better.
False.
Don't we think that way sometimes? Mm-hmm. You know, if 2 helps me, then 6 is going to knock it out. The maximum dose of ibuprofen, everyone needs to know this. No more than 4 pills in 8 hours. That's 8 hours. 8 hours. Only 4 pills. And I've seen a lot of guys abuse this. And if you're going to take 4 pills at once, you can't take any more for 8 hours. And take it with a big meal. And you better be in severe pain if you're going to take 4 pills. Because that's a lot of ibuprofen. These are the most abused meds by all U.S. consumers. I'm just going to tell you.
Weight loss pills.
Huh?
Weight loss pills.
No.
Laxatives.
Laxatives. That's the number 1. Okay? Some people use them every day, and so when they're used to using them every day, they can't stop taking them because they can't go without them. They become addicted. Any of these things you can get used to, and you can't live without them. All of these have that potential. Now, it should be stated, if you need one of these things, could you please come and ask me? I'm not telling you that if you have a headache, you shouldn't come for ibuprofen. Or if you have aches and pains or your tooth hurts, please come to me. We all need that relief from over-the-counter medication sometimes. Where does the problem lie?
Overdoing it.
Overdoing it. Okay, so let's talk about rest for a little bit. So, this is a problem for a lot of us. It's a tough one, but what can we do? Couple of little tips. If you can't go to sleep within 20 minutes, get up and do something else, like read a little bit, and then try to go back to sleep. Sometimes that'll help. Try and turn off your brain as much as you can. That's easy to say and not to do, isn't it? Try to avoid naps. Sometimes that makes it harder for you to sleep at night. Avoid caffeine afternoon. A day may come when I get enough sleep and don't need coffee, but it is not this day. Have y'all seen that? Y'all get it? Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Anyone?
Yes.
Okay. Anything afternoon or two around, you know your time. Try to stay away from caffeine because it can mess you up in the evenings. A lot of people say, oh, it doesn't bother me. You don't realize how much it does. Try to resolve your problems early in the day, well before bedtime. So it's not churning in your brain at 8, 9 o'clock at night. Don't get into things with Ronnie and Cecil at this time of night. Deal with it earlier in the day, as much as you can. And don't get on anybody's plate at 8, 9 in the evening. It's this time for bed, you need to get your brain down to a low level of activity. Exercise during the day is helpful for sleeping at night, but not within 4 hours of bedtime. And don't go to bed with a full stomach. If you do, you also have issues, possible issues with, and we've had one guy, I'm seeking here, that had some acid reflux because he'd go to sleep at night and then cough. Every morning he was waking up coughing and he didn't know why. And that's because he'd go to bed at night and the acid reflux would, So when you're eating, your body's making those juices. They can actually come up, you're laying down, they can come up your throat, and it's not good for you. So try to stay away from food nearer to bedtime. Okay. So we're going to touch a little bit on mental health issues. How many people in the U.S. have mental health issues? Probably 100% of us at one time or another, right? But as you can see from this slide, it's 1 out of 4. So it's very common to have issues with your mental health. What kind of issues? Well, it's everything from depression to bipolar to short-term, long-term stuff. There's all kinds of issues. So how do we deal with all this? What can we do? Now, since we all have issues with our mental health at one time or another, then this works kind of for all of us. These are just some tips that can work for any of us in day-to-day life. Number 1, talk about your feelings. That sounds kind of cliche, right? Or like a counseling type thing. But has anybody ever said to you, how you doing? And you said, fine, but you really weren't? Yeah, we've all said fine when we really weren't fine. So find somebody that you can talk to, that you can communicate with, that will listen to you, and that you can get some positive feedback from. It's important to stay connected. Here's some more overlapping stuff. Eat well to feel well. Chili peppers and bananas, great for depression. Keep positive relationships. So what's the opposite of that? If you've got relationships going on that are negative and bringing you down, try to avoid them. Try to deal with that and get rid of the negativity. Keep the positive going. That's what you need to keep your mental health. Exercise will lift your mood. If Santa can do it, so can you. Don't drink alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. It messes with our mental health. Ask for help when you need it. Asking for help doesn't mean you're weak or incompetent. It actually indicates an advanced level of honesty and intelligence. All of us need help from time to time. We just take turns helping each other. That's what we're here for anyway, right? Helping each other. Do something you're good at. And if it's something productive, that's even better. It makes you feel good about yourself and you feel like you've really accomplished something. Try and get a project going. Take a social media break. Don't you feel just like information overload sometimes? Sometimes you just need to get away from your phone, your computer, whatever it is that you have that clutters your brain. Take breaks from it and give yourself some time to decompress. Going outside helps that. Get into nature. We got some nature around us. Get into that. Take some deep breaths outside and relax. Find some peace. It's good for your mental health. Caring for others. Our endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, all the good stuff increases. They've done studies that show when you help others, you're helping yourself. And count your blessings. Ronnie always says if you can't be in a bad mood and be thankful at the same time. You know, if you're really thankful, I don't know if that's always true, but in principle it makes perfect sense. If you're really thankful, wake up, Jay. You look like you're asleep. Let go and let God. If you can't do anything about it, let it go. Don't let it make you a prisoner if you can't change it. And take meds if you need them. If you need medication for mental illness of any kind, depression, whatever it may be, take it. Some people need it. I take it every day. I need it. Some people need it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. So putting these habits into your life helps you to feel better about yourself. Don't you love this horny chicken? Yay me. Increase your self-esteem, right? All right, so here's another little area that we can look at. I can't focus. I can't deal with all this information. I can't get done what I need to do. Well, here's some just general tips of what can help you if you have trouble focusing, okay? And getting things done and forgetting. Make lists and notes to keep organized. Most phones have a to-do app or something that can help you to keep your lists going. Check it regularly. If your phone's what's with you all the time, then that's what you need to be checking. Get a calendar on your phone or a calendar on your wall. Use alarms, reminders. Make sure that you don't miss something or become late for something that you need to do. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. Doing tasks right away cuts down on clutter. Also, you don't have to remember to do it later because you already did it. Does that make sense? So do it now. Don't just put it down. Do it now and get it done. Then you don't have to worry. Designate a place for things that you can lose easily. And get rid of stuff you don't need, all that clutter. It doesn't just clutter your space, it clutters your brain. Get rid of it if you don't need it. Or give it to somebody that needs it. Make your space simple. Simplify your life. And then it's easier to prevent losing things. So why does cleanliness matter? Let's go on to this topic. Living in filth stifles your, all three, physical, emotional, and your spiritual health. So do your dishes daily. Prevents bacterial buildup. Did y'all see Princess Bride?
Yes.
It is a beautiful one for you. You killed my father.
Exactly that.
Wash your dishes. Don't be the person the roommate that just lays their dishes down and doesn't wash them after you eat. And then the next day it's all hard and crusty and you can't get the stuff off and you don't even want to mess with it because it's hard. After you eat, just wash your dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't wait for your roommate. It's not nice.
Quit hiding.
That too. And please don't throw them away. Please don't throw them away because you don't want to wash them. Just wash them. Get rid of mold if you see it anywhere. The number one hardest thing to treat in the hospital, fungal infections. Very difficult. People die from them all the time. Mold, mildews, fungus, very dangerous stuff. Kill that mold. Kill it. Clean your bathroom surfaces regularly. Mold, viruses, bacteria, transmission, person-to-person illnesses. Kill it. Get rid of it. Don't spread it. Mop the non-carpeted areas. Gets rid of bacteria and allergens. And please dust your surfaces. You can get rid of dust mites, allergy symptoms. How many have issues with your sinuses and allergies? We talk about that all the time. Get rid of that dust. Look at how happy this guy is. He's vacuuming, and because he knows that the pollen and mold and dust and mites and allergens are all going away. Yay! Get rid of it. Here's a big one. Wash your sheets and your mattress pad. Look on the left. First you go to bed. Your dead skin sheds. You perspire. There's humidity. Then the dust mites feed on all that. Then there's droppings. Then the dust mite protein. Then you inhale it. And then you have allergies. Wash your sheets in hot water every 1 to 2 weeks. And your mattress pad to get rid of all of that. So why should I be worried about mold, bacteria, viruses, dust mites? Living in filth stifles your physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And it makes you sick. All that stuff makes us sick. We're all hacking up the lung here. It makes you sick. So what else can you do to prevent allergy and sinus issues? One thing you can do is stay hydrated. Avoid your triggers. How do you do that? Clean everything. Clean, 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 clean. Don't smoke. And stay away from secondhand smoke. Smoke messes with your sinuses and promotes allergies. Speaking of smoking, so we know, I'm not going to talk at length about smoking because we all know it. 90% of lung cancer deaths are from smoking. So if you are a smoker, your lungs look like the ones on the right. And the diseases and health problems from smoking are extensive. It's not just your lungs. It's your kidneys, pancreas, liver, bladder, colon, and there's a lot more. But we're not going to talk a lot about that because you all know that. You've heard it for the last 20, 30 years or so. Chewing tobacco can also kill you or maim you. This guy's a little maimed from his chewing tobacco. I didn't put a lot of pictures I could have put in here, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
And it's not very attractive either.
Lady Baxter.
Oh, but what about vaping? This is the 2015 issue. That really wasn't an issue in 2014, so it's a new thing. E-cigarettes have no tobacco, so yay. But what do they have? This is an issue. E-cigarettes we don't know as much about, but we do know they have nicotine, which is addictive. So we know that. We know that the FDA doesn't regulate it, so we don't know how much is in anything. We know that the cases of nicotine poisoning have gone up exponentially since e-cigs came along. We know there is toxic cancer-causing chemicals that are found in antifreeze in e-cigarettes. And secondhand vapors. And there's no smoke, right? But there's vapors, isn't there? Secondhand vapors actually contain formaldehyde, benzene, and other carcinogens. So if you blow your e-cig vapor into my face, I'm going to get some carcinogens. So it used to be that people thought it was okay at first to smoke them wherever or to vape wherever. It is not. That they do know. They don't know a lot, but they do know it is not because it is not safe. Flavors are attractive to children. So they're finding a lot of children are doing these. Butterscotch, berry flavored, all kinds of pretty colors, all dangerous stuff. Is it too much? Can you handle the truth? You can't handle the truth. It's too much sometimes, isn't it? When you think about all this stuff, you're thinking, I can't deal with all of this, okay? Too much coming at me. Here's what Martin Luther King said. I like this one. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving. You have to keep trying. But if you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. For 2016, you really need to think about, okay, what are my goals? What can I do this year to make myself better, to make this a better year? And you need to be specific. Think about short-term and long-term goals. Have them in your mind. Be specific. Don't just say, well, I'd like to cut down on my smoking. How much less smoking do you want to do? How many cigarettes? Give yourself a date as to when you need less chewing tobacco. Measure yourself, make it attainable, relevant to your life, and give yourself a time. Have a plan. Because if you don't have goals, then you have nothing to reach for. Who wants to read this? Proverbs 23:17 and 18. Somebody that can see it, read it.
Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be zealous for the fear of the Lord. There is surely a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off.
We always quote Jeremiah 29:11, don't we? This is a good one too. Don't envy the sinners. Be zealous for the Lord. You got a future. God has a purpose for your pain. The difficulty, the things you're going through, the struggles, you'll be rewarded if you don't give up. You know the song? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Nobody's singing with me. You ain't ever gonna get me down. I get knocked down. Okay, fine. But anyway, isn't the principle true? So, this is what you have to decide. I will fight for it. I will not give up. I will reach my goal, and absolutely nothing will stop me. And you've got to have that positive attitude and say, I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to do it. And I can do it. I like this saying. This is a good one for Project Rescue. If you're persistent, you'll get it. If you're consistent, you will keep it. Persistence and consistency. If you're persistent, you'll get it. If you're consistent, you will keep it. Bottom line, who do we really need to satisfy us? The only one who can
God.
truly satisfy our hearts is God, the one who made us. Who likes Winnie the Pooh? You liked him when you were little. Promise me you'll always remember. You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. And never forget that you are not alone. We love and care about you, and we want you to live long and prosper. So, take the leap of faith.